With all of the bad news rolling in regarding Call of Duty, particularly with Call of Duty Vanguard, it's really nice when there is something a little more positive to share regarding the COD franchise and relating to zombies specifically. And if you're a longtime Zombies fan, you more than likely already know who Jason Blundell was or is, and if you're new to the community, then you've definitely heard that name being thrown around. Jason was the co-studio head and senior executive producer over at Treyarch, where he mostly oversaw anything and everything to do with zombies. He was also kind of the poster child for zombies as well, and while we have always kind of had a figurehead or a spokesperson for zombies, after Jason left during Black Ops 4, there wasn't really a face for zombies at all. That being said, during Cold War's life cycle, we saw a lot of a gentleman named Kevin Drew, and I have covered a ton of things he has said and tweeted over here on the channel. And I just want to be honest, I think Kevin looks like a great guy. He seems very, very genuine. He's always been kind to the fans. He loves the zombies mode and he pours his heart into it. But most importantly, he's been around for a long time and has worked on some of the greatest maps that we have ever played. Now, the next bit of news is either going to be amazing to hear or just awful to hear, depending on how you feel regarding the quote-unquote modern era of zombies. Cold War zombies did not sit well in a lot of people's minds, but it did usher in a brand new player base as well as a new zombies era, and I think it's safe to say that Treyarch understands that, which is why they promoted Kevin Drew to Associate Director of Design. Now, this is obviously a huge deal to Kevin in his career, in his personal life, his family, etc., etc., and of course, I want to extend a congratulations to him with a tip of the old hat. But this is also immensely huge for zombies moving forward, and I think it's safe to say that zombies can be split into two eras or two camps, whatever term you want to use. Era 1 is World at War through BO2, and then Era 2 is BO3 through Cold War. And obviously there's a lot of nuance there, and I'm generalizing heavily, but if you think about the core and fundamental playstyles of the games, I think you'll understand why I'm separating them this way. In Era 1, we had this slower paced and more methodical zombies mode that really made you scrounge for resources, like you were really struggling in the early game. And it was in order to survive these hostile environments, the payoff was becoming more powered over time. It was about making the player be severely disadvantaged so that they would want to explore and become OP, and you would only find out later that that power would just never be enough. In Era 2, things are fast. There are game-breaking mechanics with gums, elixirs, aether crystals, side Easter eggs, main quests, all this stuff that really takes zombies to a new place. It kind of left the old, well, playstyle of zombies, that Era 1. We kind of left that. The element of fear in the early game inside of the Era 2 zombies is gone because you're essentially overpowered from the get-go. Now, a viewer left this comment on my channel the other day and it really spoke to me, and he really highlighted how there is only one way to bring back old school zombies, and if we did that, it would actually be bad for the franchise overall. And I thought it was a very wise comment what he said, and I just had to share it with you because it kind of ties into this whole Era 1, Era 2, and then eventually we're going to be inside of Era 3. He says, I have no hope for COD zombies, but not in the way that you think. I like the old zombies because they have something that you can't really get with the new zombies games, and that's regarding the movement and the feeling. Old zombies moving at sub 40 FPS had a very erratic / glitchy movement style. It felt unnatural to see, but that instant erratic movement is what drove in the feeling that these are not humans, they're abominations. They walked like they weren't in control, and they ran like you were a magnet attracting them. The flushed out movements in Black Ops 3 and beyond just took away that horror due to advancements in technology, and I don't blame them for evolving the game, but it hurts zombies in an unintended way. As for the feeling, you never feel the hopelessness now like you did back in the day with every playthrough of the World at War maps, the eeriness in BO1 and the anxiety of taking risk in BO2. Jerry's aside, I never felt like I was capable of handling the unending zombies on any map in World at War. Black Ops had an eeriness in each map that you can survive, but now there were things to make your experience tougher by trying to advance. For example, the Pentagon Thieves, Space Monkeys, Astronaut Impersonator stealing your best weapon perk, or the Nova Crawlers, Elemental Zombies when you turned on the power. Lastly, Black Ops 2 did give you the chance to build or obtain things to ease your burden of the undead, but those early rounds required you to expend much of your needed points rapidly to get to a difficult to defend location to access the better items that you couldn't yet get because you either have not had enough points or needed to do tasks to meet the prerequisites, which was easiest to do in early rounds. Your danger wasn't just the undead, but time. The zombies also started to speed up at earlier rounds than in previous games. I don't think think zombies can get me to come back to COD, and the only way I see is to hinder themselves in the gameplay by going back on mechanics and animation quality. Now, this was just so freaking well said, and it really, I think, encapsulates that first era of zombies very well. Now, I believe that era 2 has just ended, and that this next era, this next generation, if you will, is going to bring about something much, much different and very, very special, because it's going to be a culmination of everything that they've learned over the last decade plus. I mean, just how BO2 set up the next era of zombies with Mob and Origins, Black Ops Cold War set things up for the next era by creating and implementing systems that are all in service of a fast, snappy, satisfying 30-second gameplay loop, which the old games did have, but it was a lot more slow and tedious and methodical, kind of like the commenter was saying, and Cold War has just modernized that. And Kevin Drew and the team at Treyarch were responsible for this ingenuity, if you can call it that, and his promotion, in my opinion, shows that Treyarch approves of this new approach to the zombies mode itself and will likely keep things similar. Now, this is not the only good news of the day. The studio creative director, who is Corey Lemcool, he has been part of zombies for a long time. We've actually seen him in the D Machina and the Firebase C like dev trailers that came out before the maps launched. He was always like in a TV or something, like where he was never on camera professionally. He was always doing stuff via Zoom, but he has been part of the zombies team for a long time, and apparently he was one of the leads on Gorod Krovi back in the BO3 days, and I think even 9. Now, I did some basic research on Google, and generally speaking, the associate director of design, which is Kevin Drew's title, usually works directly with the studio creative director, who is Corey Lemcool. So now we have 2 OG zombies guys who are reinventing the wheel a bit and modernizing this mode into something that we have never seen before, and I just gotta say, I think that's fucking cool. And I think that the direction that they wanted to take BO4, where they kind of treat zombies like it's a full-fledged mode and not just like a side mode anymore, I think that's going to finally come to fruition. They most certainly gave us a lot of content inside of Black Ops 4, but there was a long way to go with the systems inside of the game itself that limited zombies to the third mode status that you hear so often. But Cold War Zombies fixed a lot of these issues and made jumping around from mode to mode inside the game much more fun and fluid, simply because the core designs were built to do so. And since Cold War was such a huge success and brought in a ton of new players that play Warzone and multiplayer and zombies, I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more zombies content in general in the next Treyarch title, simply because the budget will be bigger, the ideas are more concise yet imaginative, and putting these 2 guys at the helm will ultimately be a good move for the zombies franchise moving forward. I know there are a lot of people who didn't like Cold War Zombies, and I was one of them at the beginning, but I don't think that this next iteration of zombies will be taking any steps to further the divide amongst old school and new school fans. I do genuinely believe that they will make the correct steps to bridge the gap while also establishing the next gen of COD zombies, which is freaking scary and exciting to say, you know? But I also don't think they want to alienate anybody, you know? But sometimes you have to do that in order to move forward, or in order to just like make whatever you are making. Elden Ring's not for everybody. Horizon Forbidden West isn't for everybody. COD isn't for everybody. Destiny isn't for everybody. Sometimes you just got to make a move and stick with it. And unfortunately, that move may be to cut hardcore fans out of the loop. And for those of you out there counting Vanguard on Treyarch's record, just ignore it. It's not good. Vanguard sucks, and I understand that, but there's no point in getting blackpilled about it. There's a lot of things to look forward to, and it just is unfortunately what we have to deal with right now. So let's get back to being positive. Let's get back to being hopeful. Focus on the good stuff that's happening in the community, and let's just hope for the best. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed the video at all, please consider leaving a like and a sub. And if you didn't like the video, well, then that other button works just as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.